having my cup of Colombian. I am the thinker, Rodin, famous sculptor. Anyway, this morning, I've been talking to people to get ideas about what to discuss that pop into my lovely head in the morning. And I wrote a blog. I wrote a blog called The Art of Vintage Leather Jackets, and in 2007, 8, 9, I interviewed leather jacket factory makers, brands, people that were getting close to the elderly years, passing on, trying to collect information about jackets, leather jackets, how they were made, why they were made, who knew who, just to get a feel for what was going on in the 50s, 40s, 60s from the people who were still alive, because they were passing on. And in that area, I was thinking about rock and roll in the leather jacket. I get a lot of customers who are in rock bands, and similarly, I get a lot of wealthy guys that sort of feel like they're in rock bands. I don't know how to explain that, but I guess there's a sort of similar attitude without the music. And I was like, what's the deal with leather jackets and rock stars? And I have some thoughts, and this is sort of off the cuff speculation. I feel that rock and roll was born out of jazz and various other musical inputs that were rebellious. And by rebellious, we say perhaps along the lines of race and culture, right? Rock and roll was born out of black music, and in that sense, a marginalized community, and in that sense, creating cultural production, and in that sense, being rebellious and otherwise suppressed by mainstream society, right? So you have this genre of music that rises out of sort of a rebellious, marginalized group or groups or influences. And in the early days of rock and roll, you see a rise in the wearing of jeans, workers' clothing, another rebellious group, if you will. And denim, the white t-shirt, and you see that influence. And then you cross-pollinate that with the post-World War II biker culture, which was basically motorcyclists. A lot of motorcycles were built for World War II for the army, and then they were sold off cheap after the war. And you had a lot of personnel coming back with PTSD. They were thrill seekers. They were no longer afraid to die or wishing death. I don't know all the psychological characteristics of PTSD, but you see this rise of adventure culture after World War II at bike clubs. So guys would be in a bomber squad, and they would come back with their jackets and their bombers squadron patch, and then they would get together and go ride motorcycles, surplus World War II motorcycles, and then form these sort of clubs. And you see this rise of club culture in the 1940s and 50s with bomber jackets and leather jackets from the war. And really, this all sort of culminates not because of, but as a representation of Laszlo Benedict's Rebel Without a Cause. Not Rebel Without a Cause. The Wild Ones, Marlon Brando, as a sort of pinnacle expression of that leather jacket biker culture, right? But what's interesting to me is that you don't really see a major adoption. Wow. Mornings, not enough coffee, too much talking. Adoption of leather jackets, like the black leather jacket, until the sort of punk era. What you see in the 70s is the adoption of the hippie jacket, from San Francisco, East West Musical Instruments, and North Beach, this sort of Elvis wearing white flame painted leather, and a lot of bands wearing handmade hippie leather pants. There were several brands in that period, but there wasn't like and I'll have to look harder, but pre-1970s, I didn't see a lot of black leather jackets in the rock and roll world yet, because music wasn't that hard-edged yet. I feel like it was a post-Vietnam thing. But I'm just spitballing here. There's a lot of spitballing, brain not working. I need to drink more coffee. So hopefully we'll edit out a couple of my little mistakes there, and have a wonderful day.